There was a moment in history when a nation did something almost impossible. A colony filled with enslaved people rose up against one of the most powerful empires on earth. They defeated professional armies. They survived invasions. They outlasted Napoleon himself. And then, after winning their freedom, they were forced to pay their former masters for the privilege of no longer being slaves. It sounds absurd. It sounds like something no country would ever agree to. But that is exactly what happened to Haiti. And some historians argue that the consequences of that decision can still be felt more than 2 centuries later. To understand how this happened, we have to go back to a tiny Caribbean colony that was making an enormous amount of money. In the late 1700s, Haiti was known as Saint-Domingue, a French colony occupying the western part of the island of Hispaniola. By some estimates, it was the richest colony in the world. The plantations produced staggering amounts of sugar, coffee, and other valuable crops. French merchants became wealthy. French ports prospered. The French economy benefited enormously. But there was a catch. The entire system depended on slavery. Hundreds of thousands of enslaved Africans were forced to work under conditions so brutal that many did not survive long. The colony generated immense wealth, but almost none of it belonged to the people creating it. Then the French Revolution erupted in 1789. Suddenly, revolutionary ideas about liberty, equality, and human rights were spreading across the Atlantic. For the enslaved population of Saint-Domingue, a question emerged. If all men were supposedly born free, why weren't they? In 1791, the answer came in the form of rebellion. What began as an uprising soon became one of the most extraordinary revolutions in human history. Formerly enslaved men and women fought back against plantation owners, colonial authorities, and eventually some of Europe's most powerful armies. One of the revolution's most important leaders was Toussaint Louverture, a former slave who became a brilliant military commander. Under his leadership, revolutionary forces defeated enemies again and again. For France, the colony was simply too valuable to lose. And then Napoleon Bonaparte entered the story. Napoleon had grand ambitions. He dreamed of rebuilding a French empire in the Americas. To do that, he needed Saint-Domingue. So in 1802, he sent tens of thousands of troops across the Atlantic. On paper, the outcome seemed obvious. One of Europe's strongest armies versus a former slave colony. The rebellion should have been crushed. Instead, the opposite happened. French soldiers faced fierce resistance. Tropical diseases devastated their ranks. Yellow fever became as deadly as any battlefield. Entire units disappeared. Generals died. Morale collapsed. The campaign turned into a disaster. One French officer reportedly described the colony as a giant graveyard for French soldiers. By 1804, the impossible had happened. The revolutionaries won. Saint-Domingue became Haiti, the first independent black republic in the modern world, a nation born from a successful slave revolt. For millions of enslaved people across the Americas, Haiti became a symbol of hope. For many slave-owning powers, it became something else entirely, a nightmare. Because if enslaved people in Haiti could overthrow their masters, who might be next? Many governments were terrified that Haiti's example would spread. And so, despite its victory, Haiti found itself isolated. Major powers were reluctant to recognize the new nation. Trade relationships became difficult. Foreign governments treated Haiti with suspicion. The country had won its freedom, but freedom was proving expensive. Then came the twist, the moment that would shape Haiti's future for generations. In 1825, more than 20 years after Haiti had gained independence, French warships appeared off the Haitian coast. Their message was simple: pay France compensation, or face the consequences. France claimed that former plantation owners had lost valuable property during the revolution. That property included land, buildings, businesses, and, shockingly, enslaved people. The former slaves who had fought for their freedom were now being counted as financial losses. France demanded payment, an enormous payment. 150 million francs. The figure was staggering. To put it into perspective, it was far beyond what Haiti could reasonably afford. Yet French warships carrying hundreds of cannons waited nearby. This was not exactly a negotiation between equals. Haiti's leaders faced a terrible choice: refuse and risk war, or agree and accept a crushing financial burden. They chose payment. And if you're enjoying this story so far, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. These hidden stories from history often reveal how the world we live in today was shaped by decisions made centuries ago, and some of them are far stranger than fiction. Back to Haiti. Even after agreeing to the demand, Haiti didn't actually have the money, so the government had to borrow it. Ironically, much of the money was borrowed from French banks. Think about that for a moment. Haiti was borrowing money to pay France because France demanded payment, and then Haiti had to repay the loans as well. The country entered a cycle of debt that would last for generations. Roads that could have been built weren't. Schools that could have been funded weren't. Infrastructure projects were delayed. Economic growth slowed. Large portions of government revenue disappeared into debt payments, year after year, decade after decade. Some historians estimate that the financial burden extracted from Haiti amounted to billions of dollars in modern terms. The exact figure is debated. But what is not debated is that the payments consumed a huge share of Haiti's resources. Meanwhile, countries that had once profited from slavery continued developing their economies. Haiti was trying to build a nation while simultaneously paying former slave owners. It was an extraordinary handicap, and yet the story gets even more complicated. Debt alone did not create all of Haiti's problems. Political instability, foreign interventions, economic challenges, natural disasters, corruption, all played important roles. History is rarely caused by one single factor, but the debt created by France became one of the most significant obstacles standing in Haiti's path. Incredibly, Haiti continued making payments for decades. The final obligations tied to the independence debt were not fully settled until the 20th century. By then, generations had lived and died under the shadow of a financial arrangement created before their grandparents were born. Today, historians still debate an uncomfortable question. What might Haiti have become if it had been allowed to keep the wealth it generated? What if the world's first successful slave republic had not been punished for winning? No one can know for certain, but the question remains, because Haiti's story is not just about slavery, or revolution, or debt. It is about victory. A nation fought one of history's greatest battles for freedom. It won, and then discovered that winning was only the beginning. Few countries have ever paid such a high price for their independence. And perhaps that is what makes Haiti's story so remarkable. Not that it achieved freedom, but that after everything it endured to obtain it, someone still found a way to send the bill.